Hello.
Hello.
Can y'all hear my fan in the background? No?
I
Okay, cool.
can't.
The dog is hot, so put it on there for him. The things we do. Right. We give Wayne another minute to show up. If there are tornadoes while we're in class, class is more important, so don't go anywhere. Just kidding. Yeah, yeah, be weather. I don't think at least here in the city, the weather's not supposed to hit until 8, so I think we'll be fine.
My kids are currently at the zoo, so I'm hoping they'll make it home before the rain hit.
Fine. Yeah, indeed. Well, where you are, I imagine it wouldn't be there till 9 or 10, right?
They said that the northern side of the storm is supposed to be in our area around 7:30. So,
Really?
yeah,
Huh.
because it's like this, the way the radar.
Oh,
So,
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Tell them, yeah, hurry up.
I know. It's
Feed the
dream
giraffe and
night.
come home. It's what?
It's dream night. It's like a nonprofit night for a bunch of the community. So my daughter went to Little Lighthouse and then is also a part of Down Syndrome Association of Tulsa. And so
Oh, awesome.
they're having a great time celebrating tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Is that the Tim Tebow thing?
No, that is like a prom, a special needs
Yeah.
prom. It's a
Okay.
little different.
Gotcha. Yep. Nice. Very cool. All right. I guess we'll get this started. Did either of y'all start on your start coding, start building it out? Not yet. Okay. That's all right.
Just starting to build my repo.
Gotcha. No worries. Cool. So yeah, we'll do that today. First though, I promise we go over local storage. So let me share my screen. We'll talk about that. Maybe I can find it over somewhere. Man, I got too much stuff up here. Okay. Where did I put it? Right here. There we go. Okay. So the problem, as we know, is that we're storing this information. Well, we're not storing, we're entering this information, but then if the browser refreshes, it's gone, right? So without having a database, we need to figure out a way to persist that data so that way our app is usable, at least in until someone closes the browser, right? Um, and I mean the whole browser. Like if you close the whole browser, it's gone. But if you keep your browser open and reopen your window, then it should stay. Um, so yeah, local storage is in the browser. It's browse save data. It's how we save data in the browser. Um, and it's basically it's objects. It's like key value pairs. Okay. Um, Something to note is that anything stored in the browser's local storage has to be a string. So we're gonna talk about JSON.stringify, which is, I think is a new thing we'll talk about. But that's a way to basically make anything into a string. Um, The data does stay there until you remove it or until you clear the browser data. And yeah, each website would get its own storage. So each tab would have its own browser data. Cool. So we know the problem, we know the solution. Now, how do we do it? So there's four main methods that you use. There's the save method, um, which is so setting the item in the browser. There's the get method, which is how you get it from the browser. There's the remove method, which actually is then going to remove it. And then there's the clear, which will clear the whole browser. And that's it. It's just the four methods. Pretty simple. There's not even really a difficult part. It's just fitting it into where you need it within your browser. Um, as I mentioned, everything has to be a string. Local storage only stores strings. So this here would not work. If expense was an object and we tried to just stick expense straight into the browser storage or local storage, it would save it as this object thing, which doesn't do us any good, right? Like, what does that mean? Nothing. Um, and just to speak on this real quick, sometimes you'll see this whenever you're console logging something, and eventually it'll mean to you like, oh, okay, the data isn't converted properly because it's an object. I'm only seeing an object instead of a string or whatever. So this is something you'll see going as we move forward. But if you see it in this case, it means you didn't stringify it. To stringify it it's just so JSON is a class in JavaScript that we can use. It's JavaScript object notation. And what it is it's what an object looks like, right? So it's just key value pairs inside curly brackets. But what it does is it gives us some methods that we can use to manipulate objects, basically, right? So we can use this .stringify method to make it into a string. And so when the object itself, like this is an array of objects, right? Right here. So if you were just to console log expenses, you would see this array of objects, right? But because we stringified it, you then get it in quotes. Okay. So it literally just turns that array of objects into just a string of the stuff that was in there. And then we have this lovely .parse method, which will parse it back out into the object itself. So we pass the string, so this whole string right here, and then it's going to give us back the object itself, or this array of objects itself. And you can use it on just arrays or just objects. Really, you could even use it on Booleans, right? Anything that's not a string. Well, you could even use it on strings, but that'd be weird because then you'd be making a string, which would be like a double string. So don't worry about that. But anyway, basically, you can always use it on objects, arrays, stuff like that. Okay. So that's the gist. Now we're going to get into how to actually put it in our code. Any questions on that? It's pretty straightforward, I think. Cool. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull my code over then, and I'm going to pull that to the side. And okay. So that's not my code. Where'd my code go? There we go. All right. So if we look at what we have currently, okay. So we have our expense tracker. We put stuff in. It's not saving. Taco. 1, 2, 3, 5. Food. Okay, so it's there. We refresh. It's gone, right? So there's a couple of places we're going to need to actually store it and then get it back, right? We'll talk about getting it on load at the end. We'll first kind of go through our flow of where we would put it in as the user's going through this. So if we think initially, okay, we hit add expense, our expense is going to pop over here. At that point, we should probably put it in the browser storage because they may like cancel it out and want to come back and do something else or whatever. So if we look at our code, that would mean that the first time we want to put it in would be during our add expense function, right? So if we look through our functions here, and I'm just going to close these up so we can see. So here we go. Here's our add expense function, right? So let me follow my. Something to note is that we're going to be doing this a lot, right? There's several different places where we're going to want to update that local storage because we may remove an item, we may delete an item. Basically, anytime an expense changes, we're going to want to update that browser storage, the local storage, so it's in sync with what's on the page, right? So if you're going to do something a bunch of times, what should you make? We wouldn't want to rewrite the code over and over again, right? Function. Oh, function, heard it. Bam. Nice. All right. Yep, we're going to want to make a function. So let's make a little function here under helper functions. And y'all don't have to do this right now. You can just follow along. And then I'll give you all this so you can put it in your own stuff. So let's call this our save expenses function. And what we're going to do in here is we are going to have our local storage. So local storage in this, so we were kind of doing like DOM dot whatever and stuff like that. In this case, local storage is that that thing that we're going to be doing stuff to, right? So local storage, and then it's going to have methods on it. So dot, this is going to be set item, right? Oh, I don't know why I commented out my function there. Okay, this will be save to local storage. Cool. Oh, also got to tell what it is, right? Function. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so when we call save expenses, it's going to save whatever we're about to tell it to. It's going to set it in local storage. So what we need to tell it is two things. We need to tell it the key we're going to give it so we can find it in local storage, and then the data that we're going to save. So the key in this case, we're just going to say expenses, and this is a string, just like keys in an object. So expenses, and then comma, and then what we're going to save. So we want to save that expenses array, right? Because that's all of our expenses. So we're going to put it in there, expenses. But like I said, we have to stringify it because this is an array of objects. It's an array. So we can just do capital JSON dot stringify and then throw it in there like that. And then that's going to save it in that local storage. So now we need to actually use this function. So we'll go down to our add expenses function now. And after we did the whole shebang here, right? So we went through when we got the ID and we created our expense that we're about to put into that function, right? And then we actually pushed it into the function here. So at this point, expenses has our total expenses, right? It's got everything in there. So this is a great place to then go ahead and save it up into local storage. So we can call our save expenses function and just pass expenses. Actually, we don't need to pass anything to it, right? Because it's just getting that global variable expenses, which is what we're updating. So it's not taking in any parameter. So that will then set it up there. So bam, it's up there. Fantastic. Good to go. Following so far? You good? Cool. Okay. Again, the other two places. So in our delete function, we're going to want to update it. So let's go down. What was that there? Go to our delete expenses here. Same kind of thing. So we're going through, we're finding the expense, we're removing it. So after we remove it, before we render, we can go ahead and throw our save expenses in there. Save expenses, bam, good to go. And then the final place will be in where we're doing our editing of the expense, which we're doing that here in edit expense. And okay, so exact same thing, right? We're finding the expense, we're editing it if it's there to edit, and then we are updating the value there. So at the bottom here, so this is after it's updated. So we'll do it down here. I think we could probably do it here or here, but near the bottom is good because everything's been updated and everything looks good. So we'll just throw it in right there. Okay. So that should be the only three real changes that happen, right? So we add the expense, and then once we add it, as we know, it's done. We know that we then could edit or delete. So those are the only three real changes that can be made in our form at this point. If we were to add like a clear expenses, like say this was like a cart, like a clear cart button or whatever, we would want to add it there too. Just anywhere that's going to update that expenses array, we're going to want to update this local storage as well. So now that we are doing that, let's see if it actually does it. So if we look over here, we go ahead and refresh one time. And if we look in our application tab, so I don't know if we went over all these tabs before, but You know what elements are, right? We know what console is. Sources will show you like the file and folder structure, which a lot of times is hidden or compiled, so it's hard to read. But some places like it has like this has the exact expense folder. Like this is exactly what's on my computer. So it's kind of fun to sometimes go in there and you can see what's there. Not used a whole lot, that at least for the work that I do. The network tab is helpful, which we'll get into this a lot more when we get into APIs and backend, because you can kind of see when you send a request, like what is going to come back from it. And then other than that, really the only one on this list that I mess with is application, and that's because it's got local storage right here. So as you can see, maybe if I move this over, hey, move over. So there's a bunch of different types of storage. There's your cache. If you ever wondered what cache was about, it's in here. You can clear cache from here. There's cookies. So I was like, what's a cookie? It's in here too. A bunch of different stuff. So in this case, we're worried about the local storage, which is right here under local storage. And then this is my IP address for my home machine, localhost, which matches up here. And then it'll have whatever you have in here. So we have our expenses, and then we have that actual stringified array. It doesn't show the outward quotes on here, but it's that stringified array with our taco, our amount 150, our category, our date, and the whole shebang. So if we were to add another one, let's see, let's do a burrito, not a burrito, burrito. Expense, it's a big burrito. When we add that, then you can see now in our expenses array, we now have our burrito. And then if we can, okay, here we go. We have our burrito. And then, why do I have one? Oh, I refreshed. That's why there wasn't a taco in there before. Okay, so let's add our taco. 1, 2, 5. Okay, now we have the both of them in there. So there you go. They're there. So ideally, well, we're not loading yet, so never mind. It won't load it. But these would stay there. These would persist, right? And then you can go in and clear them with this little clear button, or if you just refresh. Okay, so refreshing does not clear them now. It does clear our guy here because we're not loading, but you notice that it is still in the browser storage, no matter how much we refresh. So that's the beauty of it.
I have a
Okay, so cool.
question
So
out of curiosity. So
I can,
on my tracker, ever since last week, I've been able to like if I click on description, it has like tacos and burritos and stuff on there. Or like in like a almost a pop down. Where is that saved at?
first
Just
part
out
of
of
what you said cut off.
curiosity. Okay, so for ever since we first made this, after I started like putting things, I have like it'll guess what I'm gonna put in. So like let's say that I wanted to put in a taco, I literally could click on it and it would show me a drop down that says
Like this.
taco. Yeah. Like where's that stored at?
So this is I think it's a Chrome thing, right? So it keeps it. I don't know exactly
Okay.
where. But we did not code anything to make that happen. Uh,
Okay. We don't have to like dig in any deeper, but I
okay.
kind of thought it would be tied to it since it's memory of some.
Yeah, it probably has something to do with the cache, I would imagine. Um, yeah, but it's sort of
Okay.
like payment handler, like if you go and you tell it to keep your credit card or whatever. I think it's similar to that. It's just obviously it's not a secured one. It's just remembering what you did before. But yeah, it's nothing that we did. It's just a
Okay.
browser. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right. So cool. So we got it saving. So now we want to get it, getting it back, right? So to do that, we are going to load the expenses. So this is going to be done a lot too. So we're going to need another function. That's not the right code. Oh, I keep opening the wrong one. This guy. Okay. So we'll go back up by our save one, and we're going to create a load one. So function load expenses. And again, this won't take anything because we're just going to get it down. Sorry, let me point down stir one. Okay. We're just going to grab it from that local storage, right? So there's nothing, we don't need to pass anything in. And what we're going to do is we need a variable to save it in. So we'll give it a const saved expenses. And we're going to set that to local storage dot get item. And in this case, we just need to tell it the key of the items that we want to get, right? And so it's just this expense item that we gave it up here. Put that down there. And then, so we want to verify that there is something there. So if saved expenses exists, then, oh, I put save. Saved expenses exists. Then we are going to update our expenses array to be what we're bringing down. Now remember, what we're bringing down is a string, right? So it's a stringified array. So we need to parse it. So we'll do json.parse and saved expenses. And if you wanted to, you could console log saved expenses right here just to see what it is. So we'll do that just for funsies. Okay, cool. Now we need to just call this where we need it. So we're going to call it on our DOM loader, right? Because we want it to load as soon as the page loads. So if we go, I think that's at the bottom. Let me close up this guy. Yep. Oh, that's, yep. So here's our DOM content loader, right? And this is going to load our categories. And then we also want it now to load our expenses. So we can call that. And then we also now want to tell it to render our expenses because if it calls them, it's going to put them in the array, but it's not going to put them on the page, right? That's what our render expenses does, if you remember. We can look at that real quick. So remember, this creates that table body and then all the table rows inside. So that's what actually creates that this guy here. So if we didn't call this, but we still got the items, our expenses array would be full, but we wouldn't see anything. So that's why we needed both of those. Okay, tracking? Bueno, okay. All right, cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and you can clear these, like I said earlier with that, or I think you can right click and just delete. And then if I refresh now, we've got nothing. So now we go ahead and we're just starting from scratch. So we'll do taco, 125, food, add. You notice it added it over there when we did that. And then we'll do gas at $142 and transport. Cool. So it is there. So now if we refresh, you notice it's still down here, right? It did not disappear like it did before. Still up there, still down here. So it's doing that whole loop-de-loop. And we can look at our console and see page loaded. It logged our categories, and then it had this saved expense right here, which is what it's bringing in. And that was in our load expenses function right here. So you know that it's running and loading up those expenses. Okay, so we're getting them, we're setting them, we're loading them. It's pretty good. Any questions? Blowing your mind? Super cool. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Let's see. So we're testing it already, kind of debugging. It's looking good. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist, unless, like I was saying earlier, you want like a clear button. We could add a clear all button, and then you would use that local storage.clear function or method. Or if you wanted to remove an individual item. So I guess like you could have like a permanently delete button on one of these or on all of these, but individually. And then if you hit that, you could remove that just that item, which would be just remove item. Show you right here. Just remove item, and then you just pass the key. So it'd just be expenses in our case, right? Because that's the key we used for that when we set it, which you can see right there. See set item expenses. Yeah, that's it. Not too bad. Super handy. And you could think about other things like, say you wanted to save someone's name, like they were visiting your website and you're like, yeah, fill out this form because it's not creepy. Put your name in here. And then you could say, hey, Elizabeth, hey, Laura, like you could put their name there because you've stored it in their local storage. Don't put credit card information there. Nothing sensitive because it can be read in your browser, right? So it is not secure storage by any means. But you can use it for a lot of helpful things on the front end. Yeah, I think that's it. No questions? All good? Okay, well, I'll share this markdown with you. But for the rest of the time, yeah, just start setting up your repos and getting all that going. And we're here to help you. You get stuck, try to make a plan. If you get stuck for more than 5 minutes today, ask for help because we only have 30 minutes. Cool. All right, go do it. I just put the mark down in the Slack channel. All right. We have 4 minutes left. Any questions? Feeling good?
I'm wondering, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, honestly. So are we supposed to be sort of like following along with the one that we've done, the expense tracker that we've done? Um, and just like I feel like I'm extremely dependent on that
Mhm.
document, and it's making me nervous, I guess,
Yeah.
basically.
No, that's probably fine. Basically, yeah, we're recreating what we already made. And yeah, just
Okay.
follow along as much as you need. Ideally, you're gonna try to build it. Like you're gonna say, okay, I know I need this add expense function. So how am I gonna build it? Kind of write some comments like, okay, it needs to do this, this, and this. But
Okay.
I mean, if you look at it and you just have like brain fog, no idea, yeah, look at the one we did and look what we did and then go
Okay.
from there. Yeah. Because it's gonna take that repetition
Okay.
of like, writing it and figuring out what you need and all that stuff. So yeah, don't feel bad at
Okay.
all. That's exactly what you do. Yep.
Okay, because I was, kind of hooking stuff up together, and it's like, okay, I know that these two things need to go to the bottom,
Mhm.
and this thing needs to go at the top. Like the scripts thing, I remembered that needed to go at the bottom, but I
Yep.
mean, I didn't have any idea like what that is called. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that I wasn't sure, and like if would do we? I guess it's just sort of the same thing. Like whenever we're building the actual form itself,
Mhm.
are we sort of following the same one as well, or do we need to like mix it up a little bit, or?
Now, so I would just follow it exactly. Like,
Okay.
because if you start to to go off, you're going to be confused, right? And you're going to have
Okay.
things that don't match up. So
Okay.
this is really about just you kind of have the template and everything there. So you're going to build exactly that, just doing
Okay.
it on your own as much as you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. Anybody else? Good. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Saturday, I'm not gonna say a word. Well, I'll say a word, but we'll spend the 4 hours just completing this. And as we go, just please, if you get stuck for 5-10 minutes, ask for help. If you just need a little bit of guidance or whatever. Um, that's what it's about. Because yeah, the first time building, because this is a pretty complicated thing. The first time doing it on your own, you're gonna you're like, I don't know, like what is this? I know we went through that, but y'all didn't build it. So it's your hands there, your brain doing it. So we're there to, kind of keep you on track. So, and if you want to keep building before here on Saturday, you can do that too. No pressure. I won't put out any other work or anything like that. So this will be our main focus the rest of this module. So
One more question about the homework.
yeah.
Should we have should we have that done before Saturday, or is that like a preview for the third module?
So it was on DOM stuff, right?
Yeah.
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 So it I guess technically should have been done today because
Oops. Okay.
but it's
Okay.
okay. It's okay. At least started maybe. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just kind of to help you with different DOM stuff. So, but it is for this module. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I have lots of work to do.
Hey, that's good. Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, if y'all got nothing else, then enjoy the weather or don't get sucked up by a tornado. And we'll see y'all on Saturday.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Thanks. Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.